So, how do we make a text from a work or artifacts? A work is an existing artifact of communication. So, it's a speech, a movie, a newspaper article, a discussion that may be recorded in somewhere like social media, a document, a picture, etc. Um, Anything that you can say this is information that was distributed to a larger audience can be considered a artifact for communication research. A text is an engagement with that work or artifact. So every time we engage it, we're creating our new text. Even if you aren't necessarily doing communication criticism, but you're just reading it, you still are bringing your own experience, your own sense of perception, your own interpretive methods to it. So you are creating your own understanding. And we can even think about in the sense of how often we've said something to someone else and they've taken it differently. In the sense of we don't even control our communication when we're having face-to-face communication. The other person who's interpreting the message is still creating a text out of that message. Criticism, which we call textualization, is employing an analytical lens to make an argument. And arguments are claims with support regarding that work. So we use an analytical lens, and by an analytical lens, we say, in a case we would say, we use communication theory, or we use rhetorical theory, or we use intercultural theory, so something along the lines of cultural studies, or globalization, or standpoint theory. There are a number of different theories of intercultural communication that Sorrells has provided you with up to this point in the course. Things like assimilation. There are lots of different theories that you've been provided which can help you understand and create a text from any of the different arguments you could consider. So when we talk about intercultural communication criticism, we think of a work as any item of the communication in which one can identify a power imbalance between two or more cultures. If we think about a lot of the reading this week in the course, you're going to see a lot about people moving from one place to another and how there are power imbalances within regards to migrant communities and so forth. So we need to be able to say, there is a power imbalance. We need to identify a power imbalance because communication criticism to a large extent is really focused on this notion of power. Communication criticism is discussion of the manner by which communication establishes or maintains the power imbalance. So we say, hey, look, there is a power imbalance here. Now let's look at actually how communication is functioning there. How are journalists talking about it? How are politicians talking about it? How is it represented in the news? How is it represented in television programming or movies? How is communication actually involved in this power imbalance? And then ideology. Ideology is a set of ideas and beliefs reflecting the needs and aspirations of individuals, groups, classes, or cultures that form the basis for political, economic, and other systems. So ideology is more than just an idea. It's a set of all of these ideas and beliefs, right, that really do reflect the needs and aspirations of certain groups, right? And they form the political, economic, and other systems within which the culture functions. So in many ways, what we're often looking at is in communication criticism is in fact a comparison of ideological positions. So it could be capitalism and socialism. It could be European American to Native American. It could be something along the lines of first world to third world. We could even say it could be a cultural studies approach to a globalization approach. Where we're talking about are the kind of conflict between different sets of ideas and beliefs and different needs and aspirations and goals of certain groups. Now, when ideology turns into hegemony, right, that's when the goals, ideas, and interests of one particular group become so normalized and institutionalized and accepted that people who don't, in fact, aspire to those same ideas, goals, and interests, right, consent to their own domination or support or subordination or exploitation by those groups. A good example that you'll see in today's political climate is this notion of the incredible wage disparity and income discrepancy between Americans. When some groups, their income has gone up, over 1,000%, and in some cases even vastly more than that. And between 2013 and 2015, actual middle-class American income went down during that period of time, even though the stock market was skyrocketing during that period of time, with people making profits hand over foot. So in that sense, you could argue that there's a hegemony of corporate America, or a hegemony of American elitism, which other people have accepted, who, in fact, it doesn't work in their best interest. So they've accepted the domination, subordination, and exploitation of the wealthy, as just the natural way that it is. When of course we understand that that's not the case. It's economic policy. There are a number of different factors that go into creating this incredible discrepancy. But hegemony is when it becomes such a natural way of seeing, and the ideas of one group become so naturalized that we all just accept them as the status quo, even though they negatively impact us. We'll go on and talk more about communication criticism in our next presentation.